Hey there, deep divers. If you're looking to cut through the noise, get right to the heart of complex stuff quickly, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really dynamic sector. It's expanding fast. We're talking about the global energy consulting market.
That's fascinating.
And this isn't just about, big dollar signs. This sector is right at the center of this huge global shift towards cleaner energy, smarter systems, more efficiency.
Absolutely. It's fundamental.
So, our mission today is basically to unpack the key insights from the market research you've shared. We want to reveal the global trends, but also those really interesting regional details, the specifics driving this massive growth.
Hmm.
And massive is the word. I mean, this market generated around, $15.4 billion in 2021,
That's right.
and it's projected to almost double. Surge to nearly $30 billion by 2033. That's growing at a compound rate of about 5.7% a year.
Okay.
Let's unpack this.
Right. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how these numbers, they don't just show financial growth. They really underscore this global commitment, this push towards energy transformation.
Ah,
It reflects this widespread idea that, look, our energy systems simply have to evolve.
mm,
And understanding those regional differences, the nuances, that's absolutely key to grasping the bigger picture of how it's all changing, not
Yeah.
just that it's changing.
that's a great point. So, okay, nearly doubling in just over a decade.
Yeah.
What are the real core underlining forces, globally speaking, driving this kind of, phenomenal growth beyond just saying cleaner energy? What's that actually mean for the consulting side?
Well, at its foundation, yeah, it's driven by the world accelerating toward cleaner, smarter, more efficient energy.
Mm,
But the how is complicated.
right.
Think about, say, the demand for renewable energy projects.
Yeah.
That's huge. It requires strategic guidance on, well, everything. Site
Right.
selection, navigating regulations.
It's complex.
Exactly. Then you've got grid modernization, making our electric grids smarter, more resilient, so they can handle diverse sources like solar and wind and manage power flowing both ways.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the sheer urgency of sustainability goals. Companies need consultants. They need help decarbonizing their operations, meeting ESG targets.
Mhm.
All these things demand really specialized, complex, strategic guidance. And that's, precisely where energy consulting comes in.
That makes total sense. These aren't simple fixes, are they?
Not at all.
Okay, let's zoom in then. Let's look at the regions, starting with what the research calls the dominant player, North America.
Right.
Big share here. Market value over $6.2 billion back in 2021, projected to hit nearly $11.6 billion by 2033. So maintaining a solid, 5.3% annual growth?
Yeah, roughly.
What makes North America such a powerhouse in this?
Well, North America's dominance, it's largely propelled by the United States.
Yeah.
The U.S. alone, that was over $5.1 billion in 2021, expected to reach almost $9.5 billion by 2033. And it's not just the sheer size of the economy. It's also a mature energy market, but one that's undergoing significant infrastructure upgrades. Then you have a complex regulatory landscape, which needs experts to navigate.
Right, the red tape.
Exactly. And a strong push for innovation, too. Renewables, energy efficiency, across all sorts of industries.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me. The U.S. leads in total value, sure, but Canada, it actually shows a stronger growth trajectory, projected over 6.1% annually.
That's true.
Its market's set to more than double, from about $500 million in 2021 to over $1.1 billion. And Mexico's also showing consistent gains, nearly doubling to almost $1 billion.
Mm.
So what's driving that faster pace in Canada and Mexico compared to the, slightly slower, even though it's bigger, growth in the U.S.?
That's a great observation. Canada's higher growth, it often comes from its pretty aggressive decarbonization targets.
Yeah.
Big investments in hydro, wind
Yeah.
power, plus efforts to modernize their huge energy infrastructure.
Mhm.
Mexico, meanwhile, you see growth tied more to its energy sector reforms, bringing in more renewable projects and trying to boost energy efficiency in its industries. So yeah, the U.S. market is massive, complex, but its neighbors, they're accelerating fast from a smaller base as they also shift their energy landscapes.
Got it. Okay, let's shift focus. Across the Atlantic, Europe. A different picture here, you said. More mature market, but still growing significantly.
Yeah, established but growing.
Around $3.2 billion in 2021, expected to hit nearly $6 billion by 2033, growing steadily, 5.2% annually.
That's about right. Europe has a very well-established consulting infrastructure.
Mhm.
It's driven by ambitious EU climate targets, national renewable energy mandates.
Right, the policy driver.
Exactly. Germany, for instance, is leading the pack there, expected to nearly double its market to over $1.2 billion. That reflects its strong industrial base and its sort of continued leadership in the energy transition, the energy wind.
Hmm.
The UK also makes a substantial contribution, projected to reach over $1 billion by 2033. That's fueled by things like offshore wind development, smart grid initiatives.
Yeah, it's interesting. France's growth, it's set to grow, $460 million up to nearly $800 million. But the annual growth rate is a bit slower, about 4.7%.
Yeah.
Any specific factors explaining that, maybe moderated pace compared to Germany or the UK?
Well, France has a pretty unique energy mix. It relies heavily on nuclear power.
Right.
Right. And that influences this whole transition strategy. So while it is investing in renewables and efficiency, the pace can look different because of its existing infrastructure and policy priorities. Overall, I'd say Europe's growth is often driven by evolving regulations, the push for distributed energy like rooftop solar, and integrating digital tech to optimize how energy is used.
Okay.
And you see other European nations, Italy, Spain, the Nordics, they also show steady increases. It reflects a continent-wide commitment, though varied, to energy evolution.
Great. Established, but still moving. Okay, now let's talk about the region showing, as the research puts it, the highest dynamism. Asia Pacific.
Ah, yes, the real growth engine.
Market valued at nearly $3.8 billion in 2021, projected to absolutely explode, is the word they used, to over $8.1 billion by 2033. That's the highest regional annual growth rate, over 6.6%. What's firing this up?
The dynamism there is truly remarkable. China certainly leads the pack. Its market's set to grow from over $1.1 billion to over $2.5 billion.
Huge numbers.
It's the sheer scale, combined with massive investments, renewables, smart cities, a rapidly expanding industrial base. It just creates enormous demand for consulting. They're rolling out huge clean energy projects and trying to optimize their vast energy use.
And India, talk about a rising star, jumping from around $475 million to over $1.1 billion by 2033. That's the highest annual growth rate in the whole region, over 7.5%.
Phenomenal, isn't it?
It really is. What makes India such a unique growth story here?
India's growth, it's largely fueled by, well, several things. An aggressive push for solar energy. Their Smart Cities mission, which demands sustainable infrastructure, and just growing domestic demand for energy efficiency as the economy rapidly industrializes.
Okay.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Asia Pacific's overall growth,
Yeah.
Singapore, Southeast Asia, Japan, South Korea, too, it's really a testament to embracing new energy paradigms. It's very digital forward, very sustainability driven.
Interesting.
You see initiatives like using AI for energy management or IoT for smart grids becoming much more common there.
Okay, fascinating. Let's move on. South America. Steady expansion here, the report says.
That's steady and strong.
Market was around $909 million in 2021, projected to hit over $1.8 billion by 2033, expanding at a strong 6% annual rate.
And Brazil continues to be the largest market within South America, expected to nearly double its consulting market, just under $700 million by 2033. That's largely down to its vast natural resources, ongoing energy infrastructure projects, and just the increasing need for energy access in a growing economy.
And Argentina is showing impressive growth too, 6.5% annually, projected to more than double its market to over $340 million. What's unique about Argentina's growth? Any specific drivers or maybe challenges there?
Argentina's growth, it's often driven by its push into renewables, particularly wind and solar, plus efforts to modernize its grid and, crucially, attract foreign investment into the energy sector.
Okay.
And other countries in the region, Chile, Peru, Colombia, they're also on solid growth curves. It reflects this broader trend across the continent towards energy diversification and optimizing resources.
Makes sense. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the Middle East. Energy consulting market there, over $647 million in 2021. Expected to grow to almost $1.3 billion by 2033. It's a 5.9% annual rate.
Yeah.
Now, this region, obviously known for traditional energy wealth, so what's driving the growth in consulting there?
This is a really fascinating region to watch right now. Saudi Arabia is poised for significant growth, set to double its market to over $360 million. The UAE also projected to more than double, hitting over $230 million. That's an impressive annual growth rate of over 6.5% for the UAE.
Right.
And this growth, it's deeply connected to the region's really ambitious diversification goals, moving beyond just oil and gas.
So it's not just about the traditional stuff anymore. It's fueled by The research says smart city projects, broader energy diversification. Could you give us an example? What kind of consulting does that actually involve?
Exactly. It's about moving beyond fossil fuels,
So,
or at least complementing them significantly. So, for instance, in places like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, you're seeing massive investments in these futuristic smart cities,
mm,
like NEOM.
right.
These require incredibly comprehensive energy planning, everything from integrating renewables, designing smart grids, to sustainable water management. Consultants are vital for navigating the tech, the finance, the regulations for these huge projects.
Okay.
And countries like Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, they're also pursuing ambitious projects. Things like green hydrogen, large-scale solar farms, improving energy efficiency in big urban centers. Consultants are key to making those happen.
Got it. Okay, finally, let's talk about Africa. Smaller market overall, just over $500 million in 2021, but expected to grow to over $1 billion by 2033. Still a healthy 5.3% annual growth. What's the story here? Untapped potential.
Right, absolutely. Africa presents enormous opportunities. South Africa leads this market currently, projected to more than double its consulting spend to over $400 million by 2033.
Mhm.
That growth is largely driven by its efforts to tackle energy security issues, integrate more renewables into its grid, and develop new power generation capacity. It's facing some real challenges there.
And Nigeria, the rest of Africa, also following a strong growth trend, it seems.
Yes.
What kinds of challenges and opportunities are consultants tackling in these sort of emerging energy markets within Africa?
Well, the growth across the continent, it benefits a lot from ongoing energy transition projects and, crucially, expanding grid investments. Consultants are helping nations tackle critical issues like energy access, especially for rural populations, developing mini-grids, integrating solar, wind projects, improving the reliability, the efficiency of existing power infrastructure.
Okay.
It really highlights Africa's immense potential, still largely untapped, but definitely part of the evolving global energy landscape.
So, bringing this all together, what does it all mean for you, our listener, trying to get a handle on this?
It means the energy consulting industry isn't just growing, it's scaling rapidly all
Yeah.
across the globe.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And it's driven by these profound shifts in how we produce energy, how we distribute it, how we use it. This isn't random growth either. It's shaped by really powerful forces. Those regional moves towards sustainability, the rapid digital transformation happening in energy systems, and significant regulatory changes.
So, from North America's mature markets still innovating to Asia's, explosive growth on new paradigms, and Africa's huge untapped potential. Energy consulting is right at the core, helping businesses, helping governments shape the future of energy worldwide.
Which really does raise an important question, I think.
Mhm.
When you consider these distinct drivers in each region, North America focused on modernization, Asia with its dynamic digital initiatives and massive renewable projects, Africa tackling grid investment and energy access. What surprising new areas of energy consulting do you think might emerge? What could be the biggest growth engines in the next decade that maybe we aren't even focusing on as much right now?
That's a fantastic thought to ponder as we wrap up. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the global energy consulting market. We really hope this has given you a clearer, more informed view of this absolutely vital industry. Until next time, keep exploring.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through the noise and bring you the insights that matter. Today, we're jumping into a really dynamic and frankly critical area, the energy consulting market.
Mhm.
Our mission essentially is to unpack the core forces shaping this sector. What's driving its growth? What are the maybe unexpected hurdles? And what trends are really changing the game for the future? We've got some great source material that lays this all out pretty clearly, so it's a good shortcut to getting up to speed.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, isn't it? Just how central this market has become to the whole global sustainability push. This deep dive is, I think, really crucial because it gives you a direct look at how governments, how businesses are dealing with this huge shift. We're talking decarbonization, sustainable infrastructure, and consultants. They're playing an absolutely vital role in making that happen.
Okay, let's dig into that. So when you look at the sources, what's really lighting the fire under this market? What's the main engine?
Without a doubt, it's the big global move towards sustainable energy,
Yeah.
the transition. And this isn't just, tinkering around the edges. If you connect it to the bigger picture, it's really a fundamental overhaul of how we power everything. You've got governments, corporations making these pretty serious commitments now to carbon neutrality. And the key thing here is consultants aren't just advising on, say, solar panels, they're crafting the roadmaps. How do you integrate integrate huge amounts of new renewables? How do you design decarbonization strategies from scratch? How do you stay compliant with energy rules that keep getting tougher? They're essentially the architects, yeah? Helping rebuild old grids or design totally new clean energy systems.
That idea of being the architects,
Hmm.
that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned complexity. That sounds like it leads right into another big driver, right? The sheer mess of regulations. How are companies even managing that side of things?
Well, that really raises a key question, doesn't it? How do companies stay, agile and profitable with all these shifting rules? Things like carbon credits, emission caps, different energy efficiency standards everywhere. It's incredibly challenging, especially if you operate across borders. So, what consultants offer is that critical expertise. They help companies not just tick the compliance box, but do it in a way that actually supports their sustainability goals and their operational targets. It's a real balancing act.
Okay, so we have the big transition, the regulatory maze. What about just the basic operational stuff? Is there something driving demand from, say, heavy industry, the need to optimize?
Oh, absolutely. Think about like mining, manufacturing, logistics. Those big energy users, they're not just looking for small tweaks anymore. They're actively seeking, sophisticated ways to really slash operational costs and reduce their environmental impact at the same time. And the real shift isn't just basic energy audits, it's how consultants are using advanced tools, think usage analytics, predictive modeling. This lets these industries move from just reacting to costs to actually forecasting and optimizing their energy use proactively. It makes them leaner, greener, and yeah, definitely more competitive.
Oh, it sounds like there's huge momentum then.
Mm.
But no market grows without hitting some bumps. What are the roadblocks, the headwinds holding things back a bit? Because like you said, it can't all be smooth sailing.
You're right, there are definitely hurdles. One of the biggest ones, the cost. The high cost of these consulting services, particularly for SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. Big multinational corporations, they can afford the big strategy fees. But smaller companies, they often really struggle with the cost. It's kind of like needing reliable transport, but only seeing luxury car prices, even if that car saves fuel down the line. It just creates this barrier for a whole group of businesses that actually really need help with efficiency and compliance.
That's a major barrier right there. What about geographically? Are there issues with awareness, maybe in developing regions?
Yeah, there is that too. We see sort of limited awareness in many developing areas. Lots of businesses, especially maybe in more informal sectors or rural areas, they just aren't fully aware of the long-term savings or the sustainability benefits that energy consulting could bring them. So that knowledge gap that definitely hinders the market expanding where arguably the need for sustainable development is highest. It feels like a missed opportunity, really.
hmm And even if the awareness and the budget are there, what about inside the companies? Any internal friction, like just a resistance to change that slows things down?
Well, that's a classic challenge, isn't it, across so many fields. Traditional organizations, they can be, well, slow to adapt sometimes. You might have internal bureaucracy, maybe not enough buy-in from leadership, or just plain fear about the upfront investment needed. So what happens is even really good strategies from consultants might get, put on a shelf or implemented patchily, and that just limits the impact of the whole effort. It's that human factor bumping up against the big plans.
Okay, so despite those hurdles, let's look ahead. What are the really exciting trends? The things reshaping energy consulting right now? What's the future looking like?
Well, one of the absolute biggest shifts is the integration of digital tools for energy management. And what's really fascinating here is how tech is making strategy more precise, yeah, but also more proactive. Consultants are using AI, IoT, the Internet of Things, big data analytics more and more. These tools give clients real-time monitoring, predictive maintenance, really advanced modeling. It's not just about looking backwards at reports anymore. It's about making much smarter decisions, fine-tuning energy use right down to the last detail.
That sounds like a total game changer for how energy gets managed day to day. Beyond the tech, what about the wider business world, like ESG, corporate responsibility? How's that influencing consulting?
It's driving a huge expansion in ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance, and also climate risk advisory services. As ESG reporting becomes mandatory or just expected in more places, consultants are stepping right into that gap. They're offering vital expertise, helping with things like carbon accounting, modeling climate risks, making sure investments align with sustainability goals. This is becoming, non-negotiable for investors, for regulators, and for big companies trying to meet global standards and get that green financing. It's basically core to financial health now.
Right, right. And finally, thinking about the actual physical infrastructure, how energy is made and moved around, are consultants deeply involved there in the new projects we're seeing?
Oh, absolutely. There's a really exciting shift towards consulting specifically for decentralized and renewable energy projects. This is, truly foundational for where energy is heading. We're talking everything from solar on rooftops, big wind farms, to really complex microgrids, community energy systems. The future of energy, it's looking much more distributed, more resilient, and consultants are playing the central role, helping cities, NGOs, private developers
Yeah.
helping them plan, finance, and actually build these new models. Scalable, resilient, sustainable energy.
So if we pull all that together, what we've really unpacked today shows this global energy consulting market is, well, it's on a massive transformative journey, driven hard by sustainability needs, by innovation, by big regulatory changes, even with those challenges around cost and awareness still in the mix.
That's exactly it. And like the sources we looked at put it, and I thought this was quite powerful, they're not just advisors anymore. They really are becoming the architects of tomorrow's energy systems.
Yeah, architects of tomorrow's energy. I like that. Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listener, to take away. Thinking about everything we've discussed, how might you start noticing these trends playing out, maybe in your own community's energy setup, or perhaps even in the products you use, the services you rely on? What surprising energy shifts might be unfolding closer than you think in a city or an industry near you? Something to think about until our next deep dive.